day, Jen. Thank you. Well, it's election day here in Texas. We've been breaking down the races on the ballot this morning, but there's also a bigger political question playing out in some of these runoffs. Yeah, voters are not just deciding who moves on in November, they're also deciding what kind of candidates they want representing their party. Let's turn things over to KHU11's Jalissa Garza, who of course is watching these races closely. Okay, talk about the bigger political trends this election.
Yeah, Jacob. Well, one of the big trends that I've noticed and has stood out to me is the major already established political figures facing some major challenges inside their own party. And so for many voters, this is not just about who they like. It's about who they believe can deliver and who they believe will win in November. Now, take a look at your screen. Let's talk a little bit more about the races on the ballot. In the U.S. Senate race, John Cornyn is trying to hold on to the seat he's held for more than 2 decades. Ken Paxton is trying to unseat him, running as a Trump-backed conservative fighter. And the timing of President Trump's endorsement became part of the story. Earlier in the runoff, Trump said he would endorse one candidate and ask the other to drop out. But the deadline to leave the runoff ballot passed with both Cornyn and Paxton still in the race. Then last week, Trump endorsed Paxton after early voting had already started. So this race is being watched statewide and nationally because it's about Trump's influence, electability, and the direction of the Texas GOP. Now, here in Houston, District 18 has a different dynamic, but a similar question about experience and effectiveness. Christian Menifee and Al Green are facing off after redistricting put 2 well-known Democrats in the same district. Menifee has been framing this as a question of newer leadership and effectiveness, arguing experience only matters if it delivers. Meanwhile, Green has been pointing to his seniority, his experience in Congress, and his long record of advocacy. So for Democratic voters in District 18, this race is about who they believe can be the strongest voice for them in Washington. And you know, this same kind of fight is also showing up in other races. For example, the runoff for Attorney General. That's where we see Chip Roy facing Mays Middleton for that Republican nomination on the ballot come November. Let's talk about what those 2 candidates are really leaning into. So Chip Roy is arguing experience and legal background. Meanwhile, Middleton is really leaning into the hard-line conservative message and calling himself the Trump candidate. So today's decision is not just about who makes it to November, but it's about who voters are picking and who they believe can really deliver and again win in November. For now, I'll go ahead and toss things back to you guys, but I will say it looks like the parking lot's getting full. People just made 2 parking spots behind our camera. I can't really rotate it to show you, but just shows you the stakes are high even though it's a runoff.
They are, and these big political stories that you're talking about, we're going to be talking about for a while. Everybody's seeing, noticing what's going to happen tonight. Thank you so much, Jalissa. Well, this weekend, American